Just chatting with you. Yes, you. We know you have a story and a talent too.
Hi, welcome to Just Chatting, the talk show that's all about you, your stories, your talent. I am your host, Anita, and today my guest is Miss Jacquelyn Murray. Jacquelyn has, I can't wait to hear the whole story, so I'm going to do a brief introduction about Jacquelyn. First, I want to welcome you, Jacquelyn, to the show.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Listen, in reading your bio and reading some of your log, you said that since your miraculous healing from cancer, that you are committed to sharing your story to encourage and restore hope to those who are affected by cancer. That alone, that once somebody has gone through or is going through or knows they can be going through a situation again, but they're so willing to share with others, that's what I want to hear from you. I just want you to share with the audience and me how we can face these tomorrows, or how you have faced them.
Well, actually, my story is more about faith than it is about cancer. My mother is a breast cancer survivor, so if I had gotten breast cancer, that would have been, not that it wouldn't have been a big deal, but it would have been something that the medical field is more knowledgeable with. But I was diagnosed with the stage 4 squamous cell carcinoma of the nasal pharynx, which is a very rare cancer. It only affects 1% of Americans, and it's very prevalent in Asian countries in men that are heavy drinkers and smokers. So for me to get that kind of cancer was already something to take note of. And I believe that it had to be something rare so that God could perform the miracle, and that no man would be able to say, I did it, or medicine did it. And so I believe that that was the story. It was my faith throughout the process, knowing that, one, it's rare. They didn't expect to get it all. It was already stage 4. And 2, that God said, I'm going to get the glory out of this. And so that's what helped me take that journey the way that I did, knowing that at the end, I didn't know when the end was going to be or how I was going to get there, but I was confident that the Lord was going to heal me and that I was going to be whole, not in remission, but completely healed.
You're so, put me to shame, you are so positive right from the start. I mean, it sounds, okay, so tell me, and I'm going to ask you to repeat again for me and the audience, the name, the type. Well, I know you have the name, but what exactly when you say the nasal?
It's a head and neck cancer, and it's called squamous cell carcinoma of the nasal pharynx. And when my ear, nose, and throat doctor told me that, I kind of looked at him like, what is a nasal pharynx? And quite frankly, I still don't know, but I know that the tumor was in my nasal cavity.
Okay.
That was the original. By the time they found it, it had already spread. So I had a tumor on either side of my neck and one in the nasal cavity also.
Was it obvious to you when you say either side of your neck? Was it something that was there? Is that why you went to the doctor?
No, I actually, early in 2007, I had been diagnosed with diabetes. And so around February, I was diagnosed in February, actually. And then in May, I was back at the doctor just for a regular checkup, check my meds and my blood sugars. And earlier that week, I had experienced some pain in my ear. So I just asked her to check my ear. And she said it looked like an ear infection. So all along, I thought it was an ear infection. They gave me antibiotics. They didn't work. Thought maybe it was a sinus infection, maybe allergies. Each time giving me different antibiotics. I'm allergic to penicillin, so they couldn't give me that. Had they given me that first, it obviously wouldn't have worked, and that would have triggered them to look deeper.
Okay.
But this went on for a couple of months, every 10 days, changing an antibiotic, giving a nasal spray, an inhaler. This went on for several months, and it went from an earache to a headache. I had lockjaw. Different symptoms that presented like other diseases or other causes.
Okay.
Until finally my primary said, you need to see an ear, nose, and throat doctor.
So now, and I'm thinking, definitely have to be a child of God to say that by time 4th stage, fourth?
Yes, it was stage 4 already.
Wow.
when they found it. I think all along, I never really thought this could be cancer. You know, I had no idea what it would be, but I didn't think it was cancer. You know, I'm still thinking it's an ear infection that's just gone bad, and I have really bad headaches from it. The tumor on this side of my neck had started wrapping around my jugular vein, so I couldn't open my jaw really wide. But I never thought it was cancer. I didn't really think anything was that serious until I went to the ear, nose, and throat doctor, and he told me, well, you need to have a CAT scan, a CT scan. And he saw the CT scan, called me like within an hour and said, I want you to go back to the hospital and have a biopsy. Well, then I knew, okay, something's not really good, but I'm still not thinking it's cancer. And it wasn't until I was getting the biopsy that the pathologist said, I'm going to do a biopsy of your neck. And I said, well, no, it's my ear. And he said, no, it's your neck. And he says, you have a lump in your neck, which I had felt, but I thought it was swollen glands.
Oh, okay.
And so then I knew, okay, this can't be so good. It's probably cancer. But I'm still thinking, okay, by the end of the week, maybe next week, they'll have me in the hospital. They'll take this lump out, and I'll be good to go. And when the pathologist sent the report to my ear, nose, and throat doctor, he called us immediately and said, don't make an appointment. Just come whenever you can, and they will bring you right back to me.
Oh.
And so I asked him, was this serious enough to bring my husband? And he said, by all means.
Okay.
And so I called my husband from work. He met me at the doctor's office, and that's when he gave me the diagnosis. And I'm still thinking, okay, they're just going to take this lump out, and I'm going to be good. And I asked, you know, how soon I had to have surgery. And he informed me that surgery wasn't an option because the tumor was too big, and it was in a sensitive area. It was in my head.
Okay.
And so surgery wasn't an option. So I had to go through very aggressive chemo and radiation treatments.
So now I'm thinking, you're so calm as you tell the story, and as you reading everything that you've put out, it's still all calm. It's like at no point did you. Well, I'm thinking from what I'm reading, you just stayed calm, 100% calm. Did you?
I stayed calm pretty much all the time.
Your faith?
My faith was definitely there. I had my husband, and I'm kind of a planner, and I'm kind of a control freak. And so my thing was, okay, I got to tell everybody, let everybody know. I have a lot of family across the country, a lot of friends, and there were certain people that I wanted to tell myself. And so I just went in a mode of, let's get these phone calls done, keep calm. I didn't let anybody cry. Anybody that started to cry, like, oh, can't go there. I got other calls I have to make.
Did you get your crying out before the calls?
No, I didn't really feel the need to cry. It was, I don't even think I was in shock. It was just like, okay, let's just do this. Of course, I didn't know. I knew I had to have chemo. I knew I had to have radiation, but I really had no idea what any of that was or what it looked like.
Okay.
So I guess ignorance kind of helped. I went about telling my family. We have 2 daughters that were both pregnant with their second babies at the time. One lived up in Phoenix at the time, so I called her right after we left the doctor's office, and we went over to our other daughter's house who lived here in Tucson to tell them. And then I started calling my mom and close friends. A couple of them wanted to cry, and I said, nope, not going there. I'm going to hang up if you're going to cry. And it probably was just a couple of days later, after we had seen all of the oncologists and found out what the treatments were going to be. I remember getting up one morning and getting ready to get dressed, and I kind of had a little breakdown in the bathroom. My husband got up and he's like, what's going on? And I said, I don't know if I want to do all of this. And he just, hugged me and said, it's going to be fine. And it was kind of like, okay. Brushed my teeth, took my shower, and went on my day. I had a rough time during radiation because of the way the process. I'm slightly claustrophobic, and so I did have some trouble during that. And there were days that they had to let me out, and I had to have a good cry, and my husband would pray for me. He went with me to every treatment.
Yeah. And you had to be very aggressive because you couldn't have any of the surgery, right? So you're
Right. I had the equivalent of 240 hours of chemotherapy to shrink the tumor before they can even do radiation. So they did that to shrink the tumor, and then I started radiation, and they gave me chemo shots every day also. And I had 62 radiation treatments. I went twice a day for 5 days a week, 6 weeks plus a day.
plus a day. Wow. Still, you and I know in the beginning we said we weren't going to really. It wasn't the cancer that you were going to talk about. It was your faith.
Well, I think
That I keep going back, and I'm sorry to interrupt you because I keep going back to it, thinking like this lady got a lot of faith. That's what I'm saying, you know.
Well, I think if anything, I would like to say is that I don't have any more faith than anyone else. And I think for me, it was cancer. For you, it could be finances or a broken relationship or emotional trouble. It doesn't really matter what the situation is. It's the same faith. And so I needed the faith to get through the cancer. But if it were something else, I would need the same faith. And so that's the message that I want to get across, is that it really is faith that got me through. It was the faith that I have in God, that He let me know early on that this wasn't about me. It wasn't about, oh, poor me, I have, this rare cancer. It was about Him and the testimony that was going to come out of it, because He performed a miracle. I believe that I'm a miracle sitting before you, and it's God that created that miracle. And so He must get all of the glory for it. I didn't cry. I didn't say, why me? Or, why is this happening to me? Because I knew God had to get the glory out of it. So there was no complaining or even no bragging that I could do, because I had nothing to do with any of it. It was all God.
Okay. Now I can tell that you're not just a woman of God, but a woman of lots of love. Okay. And as they say, African American women, we take the world on our shoulders and just keep on moving with it, right? As I hear you say, it wasn't me. You got the same faith I have. I have the same faith you have. I hear you, and I hear you loud and clear. When I say I don't believe you, not I don't believe you, but I think of things that I have gone through, and I'm like, I put faith on lockdown. And it was so easy to put faith on lockdown. But in the back of my mind, no, I better pick it back up so I can move on. So what do you say to somebody who... Because I bet if I had been in that predicament and you knew me well, you would have come to me to comfort and console me. And probably cried with me. But for you, you wasn't going to allow any of that to happen. But tell me how.
Well, I didn't allow it in the beginning because I knew I needed to get through talking to people and letting people know what was going on. I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to break down. Because I didn't want to put that kind of attention on me. From the very beginning, I believe the Lord let me know that it was about Him. And so that's what I wanted to portray. Not saying that it was easy. Treatments were horrible.
Yeah, I just can't imagine.
And just the whole process, like I said, I didn't know anybody that had that kind of cancer, so I had no real support group in the medical field. So I had no idea what chemo was going to be like. I had no idea what radiation was going to be like. Even the process before all of that, I had to have dental work done. I had to have surgeries because the radiation caused sores in my throat and mouth, and I couldn't eat. So I had to have a stomach tube put in. So I've never been through any of that. So, you said people tell you have cancer. You have no idea what all you have to go through, even to get to the treatments. But I believe the Lord let me know very early on that this wasn't about me. It was about Him and the glory He was going to get out of it. So everything that I did, I had to do giving Him the glory, meaning I had to give Him the full stage, so to speak, take the attention off of me, and realize that it was him that was going to get the glory. So I had to do things giving him the glory.
Okay. And I can say, as sitting here talking with you, I like your blog is Cancer with Grace,
Yes.
and with grace you are truly showing how to do this with grace.
Thank you.
You're just sitting here, and I don't know, is it all gone?
Yes,
You're
absolutely.
sitting here miraculously.
Absolutely.
Because you look great.
Thank you.
You look great. You have that real healthy look about you.
Thank
and
you.
I know you're going to say, that's what God gave me.
Yes, absolutely. He said that, he was going to bring me through it, and then he was going to get the glory out of it. And so I no longer have diabetes. During the treatments, I lost so much weight that I didn't have diabetes anymore.
Oh.
So God got the glory for that.
Okay.
The doctors told me early on that they were not going to be able to get all of the cancer. And I politely told them, well, I am a believer, and so is my husband, and we have people all over the country already praying, and I believe it's going to be 100% gone. And my last treatment was on February 15th of 2008, and I couldn't get my final testing until 8 weeks later on April 15th. And April 15th, I did my last PET scan, and every bit of cancer was gone.
So
and
we're
it's
4
been
years
gone ever since. I'm 4 years cancer-free.
Okay. Hallelujah.
I don't-
Hallelujah goes right there.
Amen.
Okay.
Praise Him. Yes.
Right there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I believe the medical field refers to it as in remission. I refer to it as being healed. Remission to me sounds like I expect the cancer to come back. I'm healed.
But you realize, so many people that do have cancer, the remission is something, knowing that the possibility of the remission is something that keeps them sometimes from moving on and forward, knowing that. What would you say to someone that is in that standstill?
I would just say what I've told myself. The doctors told me that there was a 90% chance of it coming back in the first 2 years and a 100% chance of it coming back in the first 10 years.
Okay.
So according to them, I should have cancer again right now.
Okay.
But as I said, God told me He was going to take care of me, and He doesn't take His promises back.
Amen.
And so I am standing on the promise that God said, I have healed you.
Okay.
And so I don't even look at, 2 years in, I didn't even think about, am I going to get it again? I can't wait for 6 years to go by so I can go back and tell
year
the
10.
doctors and say, here I am in 10 years.
Yeah.
Still healed,
Okay.
not in remission. I'm
Yeah,
healed.
Still healed. So remission is kind of out of your vocabulary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. With grace, cancer with grace. Wow. So I wanted to I just want to hear from you, because you're strengthening those who believe and those who do not believe when they listen to you talk. Okay. We want the audience to be able to please go to Jacquelyn's website. I think it's at Facebook.
Yes.
The facebook.com/
Cancer with Grace.
and just follow her, and if you talk to them, if they've got questions, you want them to chat back and forth with you. What do you want them to do?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at facebook.com/Cancer with Grace, and there will also be a link there to my blog that I tell the entire story. I'm doing it article by article. I was supposed to write a book, which was very overwhelming. I like to talk, not necessarily to write. But my husband convinced me to break it down in articles. So those articles are on my blog, and you have the opportunity to ask me questions, make comments. I'm always on Facebook, always on the computer, so I will respond to you as soon as possible. And it's just to encourage people that are going through medical issues, financial issues. It doesn't really matter. We all have things that we go through. But just as I was able to go through a very aggressive cancer with the grace of God and His faith, I know that you'll be able to go through those things with yours also.
Wonderful, wonderful. And then also, audience, we want to tell you that you can go to your story, your talent, yourstoryyourtalent.com. Again, it's yourstoryyourtalent.com, and you'll see Jacquelyn's name there. Actually, we're going to put a picture on the website. Click on that Jacquelyn's photo or her name and go to, it will take you directly to her website there as well, okay? So now we're back down to, we got a few more minutes here. We're going to keep chatting. And you said you're going to write your book, which is going to be great because I've read some of the articles. So that's going to be kind of easy. That was a good way to do that, though. Get you to do the articles and then drop them in.
It was a little easier that way.
Well, we can get you to do an audiobook.
Well, that would be easy.
Get you to do an audiobook.
I love to talk.
Yeah, go around the little microphone and do an audiobook. So now tell me, in the beginning I heard you say that the cancer, though, was a type that is usually found in Asians. Did you
Yes,
say?
it's prevalent.
Smokers?
It's prevalent in Asian countries,
Okay.
in men that are
Men.
heavy smokers and drinkers.
And obviously you're none of the above.
No.
None of the above, so they
No.
don't have an answer.
No,
for-
they were very surprised to find that it was that type of cancer for me. I've never been a smoker. And so I think for me, I knew that that was just God's way of saying, I am going to get the glory out of this because man's not going to be able to figure it out.
Okay, yeah. And that they won't be able to. So, and I'm back in to get all the way to stage 4 without any real problems prior to
No,
that.
I had no problems.
Yeah, that's right there. That's giving God the glory for. I say oftentimes to people, we never know what we're going to thank God for. You know,
Right.
we've been going through stuff that we think we just can't get through. But and I'm sure when you, well, I'm not so sure about you because you got all this faith. You got an extra dose. I'm sitting here saying she got an extra dose. And she's like, and you got to be a preacher. You're preaching it to me, so I'm sorry if I said that wrong. That it's not all fair, but you maybe you are more appreciative of your faith than others. That may be why it's so good for you.
Well, faith has been something that's been there all my life. I was raised in the church. And
Okay.
so I just think all of that was just the foundation for what's happening for me today.
That helped prepare you for it. Okay. Well, now, have you ever come across something in your life though that you wasn't prepared for? That wasn't.
Wow.
I don't know how I even wanted to finish my sentence. I was going to say it wasn't so easy to accept. Do you know what point I'm trying to make here?
I'm sure there were things, there have been many things that I've gone through in my life that I didn't necessarily exercise my faith so willingly.
Okay.
But I think all of the things that led up to where I am now have taught me, in the end, God has to get the glory out of it, and anything you go through, He can bring you through.
Okay.
So I'm sure there were things in my life that, weren't as easy or what seemed as easy. You mentioned how I seem to be so calm about it. It was not an easy journey, but I think because I knew early on that God was going to get me through it, that was always a reminder that you have to go through this, giving Him the glory. And so that helped me. I can't be a complaining patient. I can't, tell off all the staff and the people that are trying to help me because I don't feel good. Because God still has to get the glory out of it. Last year when I went in for one of my checkups, one of the receptionists, because I was there every day, of course, remembered me. And she said, I remember the first day you came in, you and your husband prayed with an older couple that was here.
Yeah. Someone you didn't know, huh?
No, the gentleman was the one that had the cancer, and he went in for his treatment, and his wife was just so upset. They were senior citizens, and she was so upset. And so my husband and I just prayed with her right there in the lobby. And so the receptionist remembered that 3 years later, that even though I was going through the same thing, we stopped to take the time to pray for this man and woman that if they walked in the room now, I probably wouldn't remember them because I don't remember seeing them since after that.
Okay. But I bet if they walked in the room now, they would remember you.
They probably would remember my grandson because he went with us to every treatment, and he was the hit of the center.
Okay. So, you're a living testament that your faith is in your DNA. That's where it's at, right? In your DNA. It definitely is there. Now, talk to me about what you were doing prior to finding this out. What do you do?
I was a stay-at-home wife. My children were grown. We had just moved to Arizona from California.
You have the hardest job. You know that, right?
Yes.
Okay,
You've met my
okay.
husband, so you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But now when I hear stay-at-home mom, stay-at-home wife,
Yeah.
it's just, it's the hardest job.
It is.
It's the hardest
We had just
job.
moved here from California in 2006. Both of our daughters were expecting their first babies. And so at the time, I was actually home taking care of our oldest grandson. And my daughter went back to work.
So, just going through your everyday,
Yep.
the stresses, the everyday stresses. That's what I'm thinking that you can come across.
Yeah.
Of course, I know you shelf those too. You shelf the stresses as well. So, well, now once the book is out and we do your book signing, then when you can go on the road with it.
I am open and available to wherever the Lord leads me. He let me know I was going to have to tell my story, and it was going to be told to people that I would never know how many.
Okay.
Today is a great opportunity to get it out to people that, over the TV audience that I would never get to meet individually. So this is a great opportunity. I go to women's conferences. I speak in women's conferences. I really don't know where he'll take me, but I'm available to go.
But you're available. Be ye also ready, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Well, gosh. Again, I want to remind the audience to go to your website and at facebook.com, I believe it's there on the screen, /Cancer with Grace. Cancer with Grace. Just the title alone tells you you're going to get some support right there. I did another person, I interviewed somebody, it was a while back, and her book is Cancer, I Don't Think So. So with the two of you, that it kind of what, I was like, yeah, that's the same with you two. I don't think so. This is with Grace, and
Amen. With grace
so
of
yours
God.
is remission. I don't think so, huh?
No, no way.
There's no way. Okay. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the audience here before we close?
Just again, that for me it was cancer. For you, it could be anything else. But the faith is the same. Faith in God. God doesn't love me or care for me or do any more for me than he will for anyone else. So whatever it is you're going through, I encourage you to seek God and ask him what it is he's trying to bring out of you, what it is he's trying to teach you, and whatever it is he's trying to do through you, through whatever situation you're going through. For me, it was cancer. For you, it can be anything else.
Okay, thank you so much. And so it's anything, as long as we do it with grace and keeping in mind that it's God we need to give that glory to.
Yes.
And
have faith that he will bring you through.
And he will bring us through that. So I asked earlier, and you didn't answer the question, but I asked, were you a minister? No? As you go.
Yes, I am an evangelist missionary.
Are.
Yes,
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't use the title there.
That's
but
quite
you're
all right.
ministering to me from the moment we shook hands. So,
Amen.
And I was like,
That's the kind of minister I like to be.
That's
I don't
good.
have to have a title, but you know
That's
it.
good. Yeah, definitely. There you go. And it's like without even taking up collection, I knew. I'm terrible. Shame on me. But seriously, it's been great having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
And
I
thank you
appreciate
so
it.
much.
It was great.
And audience, remember, smiling at others puts a smile on your face.
Thank you.